Peace, peace, peace. It is unapologetically QI entering the building. Yes, yes, yes. And for some breaking news, sadly, and my condolences goes out to the family of George Edward Foreman. George Foreman died yesterday, I guess, because like we're in the next morning, so I had to think about that. But yesterday, but let's just talk a little bit about George, right? George Edward Foreman. He was born January the 10th, 1949. He died March 21st, 2025. Was an American professional boxer, entrepreneur, minister, and author in boxing. He competed between 1967 and 1997 and was nicknamed Big George. He was a two-time world heavyweight champion and an Olympic gold medalist. As an entrepreneur, he was known for the George Foreman grill. Y'all know that George Foreman grill. I still have one in my house. Okay, so after a troubled childhood, Foreman took up amateur boxing and won a medal in heavyweight division at the 1968 Summer Olympics. Having turned professional the next year, he won the world heavyweight title with a stunning second round knockoff of the 10 undefeated Joe Frazier in 1973. He defended the belt twice before suffering his first professional loss to Muhammad Ali. Y'all know, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. In the Rumble in the Jungle in 1974. Unable to secure another title opportunity, Foreman retired after a loss to Jimmy Young in 1977. Well, George Foreman was recently in the news, and I'm just gonna say that's what upset me, and that's the reason for my title, the way I placed my title. Now, it's still condolences, and he was like a pillar of the Black community. But for me, I was unfortunate to hear that George Foreman was defended and was a Trump supporter. But he was just recently awarded. He just recently received the award. And if you'll give me just a moment, I'm going to tell you exactly what that award was. But his cause of death at this time, currently, is unknown or unlisted or has not been yet released. But give me just a moment. And this is what disappointed me. I almost wanted to want to get rid of my George Foreman grill because I think at this point every household have one. You know how it is. See, in the black community, like most of these people, like George Foreman, Frazier, Muhammad Ali, they got massive support from the black community because we were proud because they represented us, right? And then it's like a lot of times these celebrities they get big, they get rich, and they forget about poor little us. And it's like, and they look down on like the people who may not have had the opportunity that they had, and may not have acquired the economic status that they acquired. So they began to look down on like the people who supported them, the people who gave them their beginning, such as like YouTube. The same thing happens with YouTube. When people first start out, they're very humble, and then all of a sudden I think that YouTube breeds narcissism, because all of a sudden they get the big head and it's about nobody but them, and they have this sense of entitlement, like people should bow down to them, people owe them stuff, when actually it works the other way. Because if it wasn't for your supporters, if it wasn't for the people who helped give you that audience, who helped give you that push, who cheered you on, who guided you along the way, then a lot of these people wouldn't be where they are. So it's like the small people that help the big people, and then then they get big and forget where they came from. But that's why I like to take the time out as much as possible, and I like to say I appreciate everybody who's currently supporting me, and people who will support me in the future. I appreciate. And if y'all ever see my head get big like that, please, by all means. That's the one thing that I've always asked since I seen that syndrome, the big head syndrome, going around on the YouTube streets, or anywhere for the most part. God, please allow me to stay humble. God, please don't allow, or universe, but just please allow me to remain, to remain a human, to remain myself, and not change, and not become that like monster that we see people generally become. Because they say, you know, um, it's a, it's easy getting to the top, but that fall, boy, that long hard fall, falling to the bottom, and then having to see the same people that you stepped on is not good. But yes, unfortunately, and condolences to the family. George Foreman um, has now passed away at the age of 76. He lived a long life. He had a great life. He was successful. I mean, like, we look at it from the outside looking in. Of course, we look at it like he had a great life. He had money. He acquired, some goals and different things of that nature. The only thing I could strictly say that I am disappointed with George Foreman at is his support for Maga. The Republicans, not looking at the fact that the Republicans and MAGA are not for the poor, are not for the middle class, are not for the black, and are not for any other ethnicity besides their own families of the 1%. So that was like the only different thing, only bad thing that I had to say. And I get why he liked Trump, because most of the boxing took place at Trump Plaza. Trump was a big supporter of boxing, but if you go back into history, that is not necessarily the good thing. But just like like the football, NFL, like the NBA, like a lot of different things, we're often paid well to be entertainment. Black people are often paid as the rich elite entertainment. They get a joy out of seeing us fight each other. That's why they love these YouTube streets. They love beefing sectors and drama sectors, and Mona Scott Productions, because they love to see. Because divided we fall, together we stand, and it's the divide and conquer method. So, we have to look out for those things. So there's nothing wrong with honoring him. I just don't honor his last message. with supporting Trump, but then at the same time, you know, uh, Trump was like his boss. Trump, in a lot of ways, was his master. Because a lot of those boxing events and stuff like that, Trump had a big hand in it, and they were at a lot of Trump's buildings or Trump's properties. So until next time, it's unfortunate, and condolences out to the Foreman family. He did have children. And in fact, I might take a moment or two just to tell you how many he had. Give me just a moment. I know he has George Foreman Jr. Okay, so he had George Foreman the third. So, because I guess George Foreman is a junior. So he had George Foreman the third. He had Frida Foreman. He had, which appears to be a daughter, Frida Foreman. Oh, he has a grandchild, George Foreman the fifth. So that Foreman name is continuing. Georgetta Foreman. And there are a lot of Foremans. He really, that name, but that's just like in my family. We have a name that carries on from generation to generation as well. But they said George Foreman had 12 kids. And all 5 of his sons were named after him. Wow. That is why that is like that, because that was very confusing. So there's a George Foreman Jr., a George Foreman the third, a George Foreman the fourth, a George Foreman the fifth. Okay, and in terms of the girls, there's Frida Foreman, Georgetta Foreman, there's a Isabel Brenda Foreman, and a Courtney Foreman. So he had quite a lot of kids there. He spread his oaks, and he left his football team legacy. And most of his sons are Joy. I guess is not to be mistaken. If George Foreman, is like if he has a son, their name is going to definitely be George Foreman. But y'all, like I said, condolences goes out to all 12 of his children and any remaining family members. It's always sad to hear when we lose a legacy. He is a legacy. He is a legacy. And until next time, it's unapologetically QI exiting the building. Peace, love, harmony, food, water, shelter, clothing, survival. And I'm out. Peace. Exit. Team the building.